Technology doesn't dream and it doesn't lie. When you see the impossible on a recording, you lose the last shred of doubt. The extra in the frame. Thomas bought this apartment 3 months ago. It was an old place with high ceilings and floors that were perpetually ice cold. As a systems administrator, he was used to trusting code and data over intuition, so the first thing he did was install a smart home system, motion-activated cameras, door sensors, smart bulbs. He loved control. He enjoyed sitting at work, opening his app, and seeing his empty, perfectly tidy living room bathed in the cold blue glow of night vision. The first glitch happened on a rainy Tuesday. The notification on his phone chirped at 2:14 a.m. Motion detected in zone kitchen. Thomas woke up, blinked the sleep from his eyes, and opened the clip. The screen showed his kitchen. Empty table, stove turned off. No one. He chalked it up to a glare from a passing car or a large moth fluttering in front of the lens, but the sensor was programmed to ignore small objects. The system had seen a person. The next night, the notification came again, at the exact same time, 2:14 a.m. Thomas didn't bother with the recording. He opened the live feed. His heart was pounding in his throat. The smartphone screen displayed the living room. The camera panned slowly, scanning to space. Suddenly, it froze. A yellow rectangle appeared in the center of the frame, the way the camera's AI highlights a moving object. The box hung in the middle of the room at human height. Emptiness. There was nothing there but dust motes. But the frame began to move. Slowly, in jagged intervals, it floated toward the hallway leading to Thomas's bedroom. He sat in the dark, holding his breath, watching on his phone as something approached his door. In reality, the hallway was silent. No, the camera saw an object. The yellow frame stopped right at the bedroom threshold. At that moment, Thomas heard the handle of his door, a real, massive oak door, clink faintly, as if a heavy, invisible palm had rested upon it. The door didn't open, it was locked, but the sound was real. By morning, Thomas decided it was a software bug. He reflashed the camera and performed a factory reset. That evening, he scattered a thin layer of flour in front of the bedroom door. If someone was walking through his home, they would leave tracks. It was logical. It was human. At 2:14 a.m., he wasn't sleeping. He sat on the bed, clutching a kitchen knife, staring at the screen. Notification. The living room camera caught the object again. The yellow rectangle floated toward the bedroom once more. But this time, Thomas noticed something new. The tracking camera began to autofocus. The infrared LEDs clicked into high-intensity mode. On the screen, inside the yellow box, the air seemed to thicken. It wasn't a person, it was a barely perceptible ripple like a heat haze over sun-scorched asphalt. And this haze had a shape. It was long, unnaturally thin, with joints bent backward. It didn't walk, it moved its invisible limbs like a massive spider trying to mimic a human gait. The creature stopped before the door. Thomas held his breath. A message popped up in the app. Object identified. Thomas. An icy chill pierced him to the bone. The system recognized him in that broken nightmare. He looked at the flower under the door. There were no tracks. But right before his eyes, deep indentations began to appear in the smooth white layer. 1 step, 2, 3. The flower didn't just compress, it puffed outward as if hit by a heavy blow, though there wasn't a sound in the room. Terrified, Thomas scrambled back against the wall, dropping his phone. The screen landed face down, lighting the ceiling with a deathly glow. In the ensuing silence, he heard something scratch against the wood of the door in the hallway, slowly from top to bottom, like long claws searching for a crack. He grabbed the phone to turn on all the lights via the app, but his fingers wouldn't cooperate. When he finally opened the interface, his eyes fell on the small preview window from the camera installed right in his bedroom, above the bed. In the video, he saw himself. He was sitting in the corner, curled into a ball, and right behind his back, emerging from the absolute blackness of the corner where his own eyes saw nothing, a face slowly crawled into the camera's view. It had no skin, only wet, massive, interlaced muscles and lidless eyes that glowed like bright white flames in the infrared light. The face was inches from the back of his head. It opened its mouth, a bottomless black cavern, and began to descend slowly toward his neck. Thomas felt an icy breath, smelling of damp earth against his skin. He turned around slowly, knowing he would see only an empty corner. And indeed, he saw nothing. But the phone continued to stream. The creature had already clamped its jaws onto his shoulder. In that same second, Thomas felt an unbearable sharp pain, and his own scream was cut short as invisible teeth sunk into his flesh. The next morning, the police found the apartment locked from the inside. A phone with a shattered screen lay on the bedroom floor. The entire room was covered in flour, showing signs of a struggle, but there was not a single drop of blood. Thomas himself was never found. The only thing that remained was a recording in the cloud storage. It shows an empty room suddenly filling with motion, invisible air warping and bending, and a man in the corner suddenly folding in half as if being sucked into a black hole that isn't visible on video. At the very end, before the camera cut out, a face looked into the lens. It looked exactly like Thomas, except for the eyes. The eyes glowed with that same white, lifeless light of the infrared sensor, and this thing spoke into the camera's microphone in a quiet, mechanical voice. Object identified. Access granted.